Hello, welcome to another trade recap. So this trade was taken on Friday, May 8th on NFP non-farm payroll at 8:30. Now moving on to the charts on the higher time frame on just 100, we had at that time when I was analyzing the market had already took out these all-time highs and we had two beautiful bullish gaps, and my bias was that I was still bullish. I was bullish to this new all-time high now. I wanted the market to tap into one of these 4-hour gaps, and especially this upper one, because at all-time highs, we don't usually get deeper retraces. So the upper gap was my main target, and just 502 at that time, we had not taken out this all-time high. And the same thing, I was targeting the upper 4-hour gap that the market will come into this and then give us bullish momentum and bullish displacement towards the upside towards these highs. Now on to the 15-minute. Now in this 4-hour bullish gap that I was talking about, there was a cluster or overlapping of this 30-minute, 15-minute and a 1-hour gap. So this was my main area or point of interest before entering a trade. I wanted the market to come down and sweep these intermediate lows inside this upper 4-hour and inside these overlapping gaps that I had. And let me tell you what happened on US 500, the exact case scenario. Now, if you see at market open, what happened is that US 500 came into that upper 4-hour gap and it also tapped into these overlapping gaps. Plus, it took out these intermediate lows. But on US 100, we had an SMT, a big SMT that the market didn't even tap into this 4-hour gap. The market did not come down to take out these intermediate lows, and it did not tap into these overlapping gaps. So I had a higher time frame SMT. Now I had two of the things, and now I needed displacement towards the upside and some kind of inversion to enter a trade. Now when market opened, we came down and we created another SMT. Let me show you. This is the 930. This vertical line is the 930. And on 1 minute, let me show you that the market went down and it swept these equal lows, this 912 lows. Obviously, we had the higher time frame 15-minute SMT, but we had a lower time frame SMT too. US 100 took out these lows, but US 500, if I could show you here, it did not take out this 912 low. So we had a higher time frame SMT and we had an internal SMT. So what happens? Now the market also shows displacement towards the upside, and I enter the trade here. Obviously, I got a slightly, you could say a bad fill, but I entered anyways because the drawn liquidity was so obvious. The new all-time highs plus data highs, these were the 830 NFP highs plus the all-time highs. So the drawn liquidity was so clear. Whereas on US 500, the drawn liquidity was this 5-minute unmitigated gap plus these all-time highs. Now, as soon as we hit these all-time highs, I did not close my trade because, as I told you, my bias or the drawn liquidity which I had to see get targeted today was this 5-minute gap at least. So I waited, market came down a bit and then it showed complete bullish displacement towards the upside. Now, at this point, this bullish candle, I should have closed the trade because the US 500 had tapped into that 5-minute unmitigated buy. I held it some points. Why? Because I was just $2 to $5 away from passing my phase 2 and I just held it a little bit longer. And boom, it hit that target. I passed my phase 2 and basically this was it. This was such a beautiful trade. We had tap into this 4-hour gap in US 500. We had a higher time frame SMT. We had internal SMT. We then had displacement towards the upside. We had an inversion of this 5-minute gap who created this 1-minute bullish gap. We had a clear drawn liquidity. So everything was aligned on this trade and this was a beautiful trade. And this was it. This was not a psychological trade. I waited for this trade. I had done my analysis on this. So this was it. Now stay tuned for further recaps.